Today I want to do a deep dive into disarming.
Give me everything you got. No!
The disarming rules are rules that I think are often overlooked and could have a lot of optimization potential there. And so let's go ahead and explore it. So first off, the disarm rules. The attacker rolls their attack against the defender's acrobatics or athletics skill check they get to choose. If the attacker wins, they disarm them, no damage. If the defender wins, they are not disarmed. Some modifiers play into this. If the attacker is smaller than the potential disarmee, then they have disadvantage, and likewise if they're bigger, they have advantage. If the person getting disarmed has two hands on the item, then they have advantage on their skill check. So some interesting things to point out about this. It just says a weapon attack. All you have to do is make a weapon attack. So that includes a spell weapon attack, that includes archery, and that includes being up close. So an archer can disarm someone from really far away. Now, of course, they can just use their free item interaction to pick it up at the beginning of their turn, so you really have to be paying attention to your initiative order to get the most out of this. But there are moments when you're playing keep away, say that there's the MacGuffin, an enemy's holding it, and the whole point is to get that MacGuffin. You can disarm them with your arrow, they drop it, your ally can pick it up and run away with it, so you can still play a big piece in that mission, even as an archer. That said, archers definitely aren't built for this because a melee person, once they disarm you, can pick up the item and run away with it, which leads to us wanting a versatile weapon. Something we can swing with two hands, and then once we disarm them, we can pick up their weapon and still have our one-handed weapon that we can still use. So things like longsword are actually really good if you want to be good at disarming. I did mention that you can use spell-based attacks, but for the most part, if you're using a spell, you're probably wanting to use it for something other than disarm. So let's talk about optimizing being a disarmer. Now, barbarians make naturally fantastic disarmers because they get reckless attack, so they're going to have advantage against the enemy's skill check, so they're going to knock out the weapon and pick it up. And then on the enemy's turn, they have advantage against you, so they can attempt to disarm you in return, but because you're probably raging, you have advantage on your athletics check to resist it, so it kind of evens out that way. So you are a really good disarmer as a barbarian. Statuses are another option that goes a really long way. Blinded, the attacker has advantage. Frightened, they have disadvantage on the check and they can't move closer to re-attempt to get their weapon back. And it's also very common for a martial to be able to impose the frightened condition, so it's good for a disarm build. Paralyzed, you have advantage on the attack. Petrified, you have advantage on the attack. Poisoned, they have disadvantage on the check and the attack to attempt to get it back. So this is a great option for someone like a mercy monk. Prone, we have advantage on the attack. Restrained, we have advantage on the attack. Stunned, we have advantage on the attack. If they're unconscious, they auto drop what they're holding, so you just have to pick it up. So for me, the poisoned, frightened, prone, and stunned are common enough for martials to do a build around. Some may work for other niche builds, but these ones are the common standouts to me. So for monks, we have the stunned and poisoned, so monks can actually be pretty dang good disarmers. Barbarians we already talked about. Paladins are really good with Dragon Fear, for example, or the Oath of Conquest, or any kind of fear setup will work for them. Again, the Monk's Way of Long Death is another option here, although that is more to set up your allies to do it, less so than you to do it yourself. I will say that disarm isn't the best universal tactic. It's not something that we only want our build around. We want our build to be able to do other things as well, because a lot of our enemies aren't even going to have a weapon to disarm, or they're not going to really be relying on it too much. However, there will be enemies who absolutely do rely on their item that they're holding, and knowing your disarm options and including it in your build may be a strong option. If you're already doing a strong athletics, grapple, barbarian build, you can probably fit in doing some cool disarming moments into your game. So really, this is just me doing my part to educate the community that, hey, this is an option, because I don't see us considering it as an option too often. And in that moment where it is the optimal tactic, it's going to be sick. Your party's going to freak out and be like, we didn't even know that was an option, and you just busted it out. It'll be cool. Let me know what your guys' take on the whole disarm thing is in the comments down below. But other than that, I just hope you have yourselves a lovely day, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.